We are taking you live now to Melbourne, where the Prime Minister Tony Abbott is speaking to the media.
The Assistant Minister for Immigration. Michaelia and I have earlier today sat down with the new Australian of the Year, Rosie Batty, and with the retiring Victorian Police Commissioner, Ken Lay, to talk through some of the issues of domestic violence. Rosie Batty is an extraordinary person. She is a great Australian and she has suffered much, and she is determined to ensure that we don't just make a statement by appointing her Australian of the Year, but that we act as a nation to make a difference to reduce the scourge of domestic violence which is stalking too many households in our country. I'm the father of 3 daughters. I am the brother of 3 sisters. The last thing I want to see tolerated is violence against women and children. We know it happens. Something like 1 in 3 Australian women has suffered violence in a domestic context through her lifetime. Every week, 1 Australian woman dies as a result of domestic violence. Every year in Victoria, the police respond to some 60,000 incidents of domestic violence, and in New South Wales, some 40% of all police work is involved with domestic violence. So this is a very serious problem, and the government is determined to act this year to make a difference. It is going on the COAG agenda, and COAG will be asked to act urgently this year to finally agree on a national domestic violence order scheme, so that a domestic violence order in one jurisdiction holds in another jurisdiction. We all know that so many families do flee from city to city, from state to state, to avoid violence, and if they're fleeing violence, the violence should not be allowed to follow them. And that's why it's so important that we do have a national domestic violence order scheme. It's important also that we have uniform standards for dealing with these perpetrators, that we have appropriate red flags that appear in the case of people who are subject to domestic violence orders. And given that domestic violence and domestic persecution now takes many forms and uses modern technology, we want to try to ensure that there is online safety and that we protect women against these newer forms of abuse.